It's Barnes and Leslie this weekend, Saturday night at Smith's Old Bar. Lit will be there with Caroline Riley. The man who makes that crunchy, catchy business, his name is Jeremy from Lit, and here he is. Hey, Jeremy.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm just sitting on the back of the bus right now. We played Key West last night.
Ooh, that's a long way back up from there.
Yeah, well, we're in Fort Lauderdale tonight, so we just start bebopping around Florida, and we're trying to avoid the snow. So
Leslie and I went to kind of have a mini masterclass, by the way, on my own worst enemy.
Yes, please.
A few questions. We were talking about this before you came on. It's amazing, and I've seen you reference it in interviews, that song has basically funded like a quarter of a century of your life. It's a perfect mix of a lot of things. What do you think it is about that song that everyone loves so much, including us?
Oh, man. Well, thank you. And hi, Leslie.
It's good to see you, Jeremy.
We missed you at Christmas carols this year.
I know. I'm so sorry. Talking about Butch Walker's party, Barnes.
Yeah, cool.
I missed it.
But anyway, yeah. So I think it's if I knew the answer to that question, I'd have about 100 more of those. But I think it's just. I think it's just kind of one of those freaky things where the stars aligned, lightning in a bottle, whatever sort of cheesy metaphor you want to use. But I think it's the simplicity of it, and it's very conversational, and it really doesn't. It kind of breaks all the rules in songwriting. It doesn't have nothing rhymes. There's no pre-chorus. There's no bridge. There's not even really a solo. It just kind of. It's, back in those days, we used to get a song sort of chalked up loosely, and then we'd go in the studio and we would work on the lyrics and fine tune things and kind of, polish them up. And that one sort of took off from underneath us before we had a chance to do that. And so sometimes when we're writing now, we try to remember that fact that, like, it's really easy to overthink stuff and overdo stuff. But that song was written in about 15 minutes.
Wow.
And what you hear is what it was the night in our little sweaty band warehouse in Anaheim, drinking natural lights and
But it's got a mixture of a lot of things like nostalgia, self-hatred. I mean, I say that jokingly, but for real. I mean, I think you just connected with people in a lot of ways beyond the technical ways.
Yeah, well, and I think, just the subject matter of waking up and regretting what you did the night before is, even if you're sober or whatever planet you live on. I've had people in other countries tell me that's the story of their life, and in very broken English. I'm like, wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those relatable songs, and then it ends up being like a fixture of the 90s. I wanted to ask you, though, Jeremy, you and AJ being brothers and just having this amazing longevity, what is the recipe there that you didn't end up like, Noel and Liam Gallagher, I mean, seriously, you guys have been together successfully all these years.
I mean, we've probably had some Oasis moments, over the years, brothers, but, and Kev, our bass player, I mean, we've been together since junior high school. I mean, we were all pals before anybody really played any instruments. So he's essentially a brother, and he is a brother. And I think it's just growing up together and doing it's. We still genuinely just love doing this, and everyone's still a little immature and kind of, we still get giddy when we get on a tour bus, and we still like hotels and like venues and sound check and all shapes and sizes. So it's just. We're just and I think the longer we do it and the more time that goes on, I think we're at a place now where we just really feel blessed and really feel grateful to be able to still be doing this. Because I don't think if you would have asked us 25 years ago, because My Own Worst Enemy came out 25 years ago this month.
Wow.
And if you would have asked us then what we would be doing in 25 years, I don't think we would have even thought or dreamed. I mean, not that we had anything else in mind, but I don't think we would have ever had any idea we'd still be doing it.
I can't think of another band that we play that every song just freaking sticks in your head. So you definitely have the art down, because like even Ziploc, I mean, when I play that, I walk around the whole day singing it. Miserable, same thing. I can't wait to see what that's like at Smith's Old Bar. And have you guys played there before in the room upstairs?
I don't know. So Butch actually took us there maybe 25 years ago, and we just went there to have some drinks and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know we played Smith's at one point, I don't know, along the way. But
Well, then it had to be up there. It had to be, because I can't see you playing downstairs in the restaurant part. That would be kind of weird.
Yeah, is that where the name plates are on the bar stools or on the bar? They still have that? I remember.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
There was like, I remember like Brendan O'Brien had one. I think Butch had one, where just like a little nameplate screwed into the bar top.
Oh, on the bar. I don't know about that. I see them on the way up the stairs.
That's good memory.
All the posters from shows, but some legendary people have played in that upstairs tiny room. Everyone from David Bowie down to, I mean, anyone you could imagine at some point has played in there.
It's cool. I've always had... we've always had a good time when we go there. It's funny, like Leslie, when you said good memory, but it's the weirdest thing. I can remember, you name a city, I immediately think, you say Atlanta, I immediately think 99X, I immediately think Smith's Old Bar, I immediately, I have these things like permanently, I can't remember what I did last night, and I'll walk into a grocery store and forget what I went for, but I can remember stuff like that from years ago. It's a wild thing.
Jeremy, we're talking to Jeremy from Lit. As Butch Walker moved, from California to Tennessee to Nashville, what was the reason you guys left the OC to come to Nashville?
Well, I had been going to Nashville for, now almost 20 years, but I started going there many years ago to write. And I, wrote some country music and just met some amazing people there. And it really became my second home for a long time. I would go out as often as I could. And most years I was able to spend like a week, a month out there. And then my son went off to college. I was ready to rock and roll. The light turned green and we bailed. So I always knew it was where I wanted to be and where I wanted to wind up. And we just love it there.
When you did that and you guys basically made a country record, that was such a risky move, some might say, for guys who have been in the in the alt-rock world for so long. What inspired that move? Well,
we had been writing these songs in Nashville, and we had been recording them and demoing them up. And traditionally you would do that, and then you would get other people to sing on them, and you'd pitch them to artists and that kind of thing. And AJ and I were just talking one day. We were like, what if we did these? What would that sound like? And they were songs we loved, and we started recording them, and we thought they sounded cool. And so, in retrospect, it was one of those things, like right when it came out, we were like, oh, maybe we should have put that out under a different name. But
I think you do have fans here, though, but you have a lot of musician and songwriter fans in Nashville as well. And I know you've kind of created that bond in the city, which is great.
Yeah, it has always felt, and I think Butch would maybe agree to this, but it's when you show up there as an artist for the first time. Of course, we'd all been through it on the road and stuff on tour. We obviously stop in Nashville, but when you actually start digging into the community and just the vibe of the people and the people you meet and that become really close friends all of a sudden, like you've known them for years, and there's just this real true sense of community which you really don't get in Orange County or LA. Out there it feels like everybody's in a marathon, in a race, and everybody's competing, and it's just a lot of like chaos and you go out there and it's just like, the other day I was snowed in at my house, and literally, a guy that I've known for 6 months just like came over, risked his own safety came over to help us get our car out of the driveway. And then, another buddy came over in his side-by-side and gave us a ride down to the car so we could get to the airport, and like stuff like that. That's just, it's just a community. But when you first go there to write songs, it literally feels like you're this misfit kid that's like walking by and you look in and there's a party going on and they're like, hey, come on in, dude. And you're like, okay. And you go in and you're being welcomed and you're having fun. You're like, I'm coming back. This is awesome.
What artist, like, as you've been out on the road or in your travels, has made the biggest impression on you, either good or bad?
Good question,
Like that you've met out and about.
Oh, wow. I might have to think about that for a minute.
It's hard, isn't it?
That's a lot. That's a whole bunch of them.
Because people always ask us, like, what actor that's come in has had you guys most, like, wow, like, holy crap, like, you feel the energy of that creative human. And it's a hard question just to come up with something quickly, but I thought you might have something just stuck in your head. Or the bad side. Most people say Stephen Jenkins when we ask that. I'm not
just to throw that out there.
I'm not putting that in your mouth. I'm just saying I've heard that a lot.
Well, it's funny because we did have some early memories of him that weren't necessarily awesome. But the last time we did a show together last year, I think, we did a festival together. I think it was last year, and he was awesome.
Oh, good.
Like, sweetheart of a guy, came over, said hello, was very, was a very different guy that I remember from 20 years ago. But yeah, he was great. He was great. There's a lot of guys. I mean, we just did this rock fest down in Key West where, like, the night before we played, and STP played, and we had Bowling for Soup and Buck Cherry, and but the night before was Bret Michaels. And he and Dee Snider, and those are guys. And last night, Vince Neil came out on stage with us, and we did Smoking in the Boys Room.
Oh, wow.
And it was really just, but, a lot of those guys, I ran into Dee Snider at the airport in Atlanta, and I hadn't seen him in a few years, and, man, the guy looks, I haven't seen him in probably 8 years. He looks 8 years younger than the last time I saw him.
Really?
Wow.
And, and Bret Michaels, everyone always talks about Keith Richards is going to be the one that lives the longest, and Willie Nelson. I don't know, man. Bret is like,
oh, yeah.
He might be up there with those guys because it's just like, the guy looks like he's 18 years old up there just running around doing his thing. And there's something very admirable. Is that the word? Admirable.
Yeah.
About seeing these guys that are, 10, 15 years older than us, and they're just in the shape of their life, and they're working hard, and they're disciplined, and it really gives guys like us almost like a barometer. We're like, all right, we got 10 more if we watch.
That's awesome.
If we watch it, we can, So
so great. Well, Jeremy, it's great to catch up with you. Can't wait to see the show.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's great to see you. And thank you guys so much. I'm talking about 25 years. I mean, y'all were definitely one of the first 4 or 5 stations that really wrapped your arm around, these old punks from Anaheim, California, and we've always, Atlanta's always felt like home for us, and that's because of you guys. So thank you for the support all these years. And
you're very welcome.
We look forward to seeing you in a few days.
Yeah, thanks for coming
Jeremy.
on from the road, from the tour bus.
Woo-hoo.
It's Jeremy from Lit. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.